Yes, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for coming and good morning. Um, Let me introduce myself. My name is Seriansyah. I'm 33 years old. I'm working in ABC LNG company for almost 5 years now. And also I'm one of the beneficiaries for industrial engineering program. So today I'm going to share about the LNG. This is one of my final project for English business presentation. In my presentation I will take maximum 20 minutes. So I'm happy if you have any question or any comment, please note it down, and then we will discussing in the asking question session. In my presentation, I will divide it by 6 sections. First is introduction about me. I just give my introduction. The second is what is LNG. The third is why we use LNG. The fourth is basic LNG chains from the beginning until come to customer or user. The five is conclusion, and the last is asking question. I'm happy before I start my presentation, please put your mobile in the silent mode, and then if you have any emergency call, you can use it outside. Okay, let me start for the next topic, or what is LNG. LNG is standing for liquid natural gas. How do we change that liquid natural gas? And then what? LNG is natural gas that has been cooled and condensed to liquid. So to change that condition, to change that characteristics, they have to cool and condense become a liquid. At atmospheric pressure, LNG has a temperature about minus 162 degrees Celsius. They cool the gas up until minus 162 degrees Celsius. LNG contain about 85 to 95% methane. So if you look at on this picture, just assume this is one circle is LNG. 95% of LNG is consists of methane. The others 5% is some impurities, with some a little bit water or some impurities that's carried over during LNG process. LNG characteristic is colorless, is only white like water. Odorless, is no smell is there because it's already removed it during LNG process. Non-corrosive, this is no more corrosive. This material can be corrosive like water, CO2 is already removed during LNG process. And non-toxic, they already remove toxic material such as H2S or mercaptan from the LNG. Evaporated LNG can displace oxygen and cause human asphyxiation. If the concentration of LNG in this room, for example, is and then more, it can be displaced that oxygen that what we are using for the breath. So that's why they can make a suffocation for the human. This is one of the hazards of the LNG. And then flammability range 5 to 15% volume in air. Flammability, that means there's a possibility become a fire or make it explode if the concentration of LNG is 5 to 15% in air. Okay, so the third step is why we have to use LNG, or why we have to make LNG. LNG is mainly produced for transportation purpose because gas market is normally far from the source of the natural gas. More economical transport the gas as LNG instead of in a natural gas pipeline. Sure, just imagine if you want to sell the gas or natural gas to your customer in Japan, in Korea. If you have to send that gas using pipeline, how long you have to install pipeline, and how much the cost you have to spend, and how many hours for the construction. You have to spend more time, and you have to spend huge money only to send that product of gas to your customer. But if you're using LNG, you just have special ship or carrier, or we call it LNG tanker. You can use to everywhere. LNG also offers greater flexibility than pipeline gas. Yeah, sure. If a pipeline is fixed, when you install a pipeline, that you cannot reroute that pipeline to another country. But if you have that LNG tanker, after finish for the one place, it can bring it back to bring to the another place. It's more flexibility. It takes up about 1/600 times the volume of natural gas in the gaseous stage. They can consist, and they can, when the natural gas they change to liquid, that's save 600 times. So this means the same quantity. If you have one in the storage, right? For example, if you want to storage that 1 liter of LNG, that means equal with your storage 600 liter of natural gas. That's how economical is. Back to cost transportation. If you look at on this graphic, on the horizontal line is for transport distance, how far you have to transport and how far you have to send that LNG. And on vertical line, that cost per unit gas transport that you have to pay and they have to spend for the transportation. Look at on this line, this green line, that if you are sending that gas which in LNG base, I mean in already liquefied, when your the distance far away from your country, that the cost you have to spend is not big if you compare using a pipeline. Look at on this line, if using a pipeline more far of the distance, more expensive because you have to pay for the transportation in the same quantity. So just imagine how much you have to spend. Okay? This one, like I told you, when you want to store it, when you want to collect that natural gas, when in gas state, in the same quantity, let's say 600 liter you want to store it, you have to spare this big of a storage. But when you convert the 600 to become liquid, 600 liter, you have only to spend this kind of small storage. How there's a difference between when the gas to liquid. The statement is 1 square meter LNG is corresponds to 600 square meter of natural gas. At a temperature above -110 degrees Celsius, LNG level is lighter than air. Normally LNG, when we natural gas, when we are reducing the temperature up to -162, it becomes liquid. And then when the temperature increase above 110, LNG become a vapor and then lighter than air. This is like evaporation. LNG is lighter than water. When it's still in the LNG and the temperature is 162, the LNG density is only 450 kg per meter square. And for water, 1000 kg per meter square. So that means that when you put the water, LNG in the water, it will become on the top of the water. Okay? Okay, the next is basics LNG chains. There are 5-step LNG chains from the beginning up until come to the user. The first is exploration and production. The exploration and production, that means when the exploration, when the company is searching for, looking for a reservoir where they can get natural gas. When they can get the natural gas and then they production, they lift up or they shift it or they take the natural gas from ground to the surface. That's exploration and production. The next step is liquefaction. Liquefaction, this is process for the LNG. How they are changing the gas become liquid. In the liquefaction process, this activity takes place in the product producing country when all impurities are removed from the gas, which in the industry is known as sweetening. So when they process to remove some impurities, mostly the impurities they are removing, such as water, H2S, CO2, mercaptan, they call it sweetening. And then after that, they will cool. They will cool up to -160 degrees Celsius. And then when they, after they are reducing the temperature, the gas is converted from gas to a liquid. and reducing the volume by 600 tons. This process is called liquefaction and produce a stable liquid ready for shipping. The next process is storage LNG. For storing the LNG, they have a special storage tank that to maintain the temperature, maintain that the steel ceiling is no leaking to the atmosphere. LNG is stored in a full containment design storage tank. In a full containment system, two tanks are employed, an inner tank which contains the storage liquid, and outer tank which is provide security in event of any loss of containment or leak from the inner tank. So they have to design a special tank to keep the temperature as minus 162 degrees Celsius to keep the LNG still in the liquid phase. This is how that LNG storage look like. You can see that so many safety devices installed there for safety reason and for avoid any leak or something. And also the fourth chain is LNG transportation. To transport that LNG, they have special ship or special carrier, and then to keep that LNG still in cool condition, minus 162, and then keep that everything in liquid base. LNG is transported in a special double dual ship using two different technologies known as Morse reservoir and membrane using a within transport. The LNG is offloaded as a liquid and pumped from the jetty to storage tank at the terminal. The LNG remains at minus 600 degrees Celsius, 660 degrees Celsius. So always from the liquefaction and to transportation, they have to maintain the temperature is minus 160 degrees Celsius. The last change for the LNG is regasification. Liquefaction, that means we are change the gas to liquid. Now regasification, we have changed a reverse. We change from liquid to gas. When the tanker arrive on the customer jetty or something, they transfer the liquid or LNG to storage, and then they heat it up by exchanger to change the LNG from liquid to gas. And then after that, they will be ready to transfer to user, either for power plant, it can be for chemical industry, it can be for petrochemical, so on. Then the process how that LNG from the beginning, from the reservoir coming to user or customer and ready to use. And let me show you one video how that LNG process from the beginning. I told you there's more easy, more understanding for you to imagine how that LNG is look like.
The world's population is growing, and for many, living standards will continue to improve. As a result, global energy demand is expected to double by 2050 when compared to 2000. To help meet this demand, gas will form an increasingly important role. Natural gas is plentiful and is the cleanest burning fossil fuel. But some natural gas resources are in remote locations. Transporting the gas long distances by pipeline can be costly and impractical. The solution? We liquefy the gas by cooling it, which shrinks its volume for easier, economical, and safe transportation by ship. So how is liquefied natural gas produced? Natural gas extracted from the ground contains impurities, water, and other associated liquids. First, it is processed to clean it.
This is the first
It goes through a
process
series of pipes and
cleaning
vessels
or
where gravity helps separate the gas from some of the heavier liquids.
heavier liquid.
Other impurities are then stripped out. The natural gas passes through
This
a
is
water-based
process for
cycle
sweating.
that absorbs carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. These would otherwise freeze when the gas is cooled and so cause blockages. Next, any remaining water is removed, as this would also freeze. Finally, remaining lighter natural gas liquids, mainly propane and butane, are extracted to be sold separately or used as a refrigerant later in the cooling process. Traces of mercury are also filtered out. Now the purified natural gas, methane with some ethane,
Was
is ready to be
liquid, pure
liquefied.
natural gas.
This happens in heat exchangers. a coolant chilled by giant
process to cool
refrigerators,
the
absorbs
natural
heat
gas.
from the natural gas. It cools the gas to minus 162 degrees centigrade, shrinking its volume by 600 times.
600 times.
This turns it into a clear, colorless, non-toxic liquid,
How does
liquefied
the
natural
LNG look
gas,
like?
or LNG, that is much easier to store and transport. The LNG is kept in insulated tanks until it is ready for loading into a specially designed LNG ship or carrier. When the ship arrives at its destination, the LNG is transferred to a regasification plant where it is heated, returning it to its gaseous state. The gas is then transported via pipelines to customers, providing energy for homes and industry.
So that how the processes look like. It's more easy if we are looking at this video, right? From the beginning and then up to a user. So the next conclusion, like that we are discussing already, natural gas is mostly 95% is methane, and then that how we are convert the LNG gas to liquid by cooling up to minus 162 degrees Celsius, and 1 square meter of LNG is equivalent to the 600 square meter of natural gas. Is more valuable. And there are 5 steps to make LNG ready to use, from the reservoir up to the user for energy. And I think that's all about my presentation. We go to the next step as any question session. If you have any question or comment, or we can discuss it. Okay, if no more any questions, thank you for coming. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for everything and sharing. That last of my slide. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.